Welcome to this mini seminar on avoiding career obsolescence. My name is Peter Weddle. Avoiding career obsolescence is the key to finding your dream job and hanging on to it. Many people in transition today are facing the same predicament as was expressed by a recent job seeker. I apply for jobs where I'm perfectly qualified and hear nothing. The individual was a perfect match for the requirements and responsibilities specified for an opening, and yet they heard absolutely nothing back from the employer. Their resume showed that they could do the job. The resume proved that they had a track record of experience doing the job, and still, all they heard back was the sound of silence. Why is this happening? Well, there are many reasons, but perhaps the two most important are global competition and the growth of knowledge. In today's global marketplace, organizations are no longer competing with employers overseas that have cheaper labor. They're competing with organizations that have smarter labor. Workforces in companies overseas today have state-of-the-art knowledge and up-to-date skills, enabling them to provide greater productivity, greater innovation, and greater capability in the workplace. Equally as important, the growth of knowledge in virtually every profession, craft, and trade is accelerating. For example, in the year 2008, we human beings created 4 terabytes, that's 4 followed by 20 zeros, worth of new knowledge. That was more new knowledge created in that one year than in the previous 5,000 years of human history. If you go to college today in a technical subject, by the time you reach your junior year, 50% of what you learned in your freshman year will be obsolete. The skills and knowledge required to perform successfully on the job is changing almost at warp speed. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, first it means that you face extraordinary challenges in the world of work. But second, it also means that you have extraordinary opportunities. There is no such thing in today's job market as job security. Companies are facing such dramatic changes in the global economy and with the growth of knowledge that they can't tell what kind of talent they're going to need 6 months from now, let alone 2 or 3 years down the road. So job security no longer exists, but it's been replaced by career security. Career security is the ability always to be employed, and always by an employer of your choice. And career security is only achievable with state-of-the-art knowledge and up-to-date skills. Equally as important, the definition of qualified has changed. Employers no longer believe that experience is as important as it once was. What's important today, what enables them to compete successfully in the global marketplace, is state-of-the-art knowledge and up-to-date skills. So your resume has to prove that you have those capabilities, and not that you can do a job, but that you will excel at it, that you will deliver superior performance on the job from day one, do it day in, day out, and provide a superior contribution to your employer. The good news is that employers believe that people who have the capacity to excel are in short supply. So the opportunity for you is to position yourself in the workplace as someone who can do that, because today, according to the latest research from the Society for Human Resource Management, 7 out of 10 employers, 70% of all organizations that employ working men and women, are now paying hiring bonuses in order to recruit people who can excel on the job. And almost 3 out of 4, 38% of all employers, are now paying retention bonuses to hang on to the talent that they already have. Now, the challenge, of course, is that you can't find a new job or hang on to it if employers don't believe that you have the capability to excel. How do they make that judgment? The primary sign that they look for is obsolescence. For job seekers, this means that they look for a gap in your resume. Now, that gap can be caused by the fact that you aren't employed, but it can be filled by your being back in school, by your adding to your skills and knowledge so that you are able to excel on the job. But if employers see that gap, they're going to conclude that you can't contribute and therefore have an obsolete set of skills. Employees, on the other hand, also face a challenge because employers look at average performers and they believe that those kinds of people are undistinguished contributors, that they don't have the capacity to excel on the job because their skills and knowledge are obsolete. So how can you fix that problem? How can you reposition yourself as someone who is not obsolete? What you want to do is reimagine yourself as a person of talent. You're not a job seeker, a supplicant for work, and you're not an employee, someone who depends on an organization to perform on the job. You see yourself as a person of talent, and you practice career fitness. Now, career fitness is an approach to career self-management. It's a way for you to take control of the changes in your career so that you are their master and not their victim. It analogizes the management of your career to the way we take care of our physical fitness. We all know two things about our health. We are individually responsible for our health, and we have to work on it every single day. And that's true when we're older as well as when we're younger. And the same is now true with your career. We are each individually responsible for the health of our career, not our employer, not our boss, not our mentor, not our parents. We have to take care of our careers, and we have to work on our careers every single day. Not every couple of years, not once a year when we have our performance appraisal, but every single day. And that's true whether we have 30 minutes of experience in the workplace or 30 years. Now, there are 7 facets to the career fitness system for career self-management. Today, what we're going to talk about is pumping up your cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system of your career, the heart of your career, is your professional knowledge and expertise. The stronger that cardiovascular system is, the less likely you are to look obsolete. So remember, step 1 was to reimagine yourself as a person of talent. And that's hard to do in our culture because our culture teaches us that talent is the province of exceptional people doing exceptional things. We can recognize the talent of Lady Gaga or Roger Federer, but not the talent of a cook in the local coffee shop who day in, day out prepares delicious meals for the patrons of that establishment. We don't recognize the talent of a city bus driver who day in, day out gets her charges from one side of the city to the other without an accident. And we don't recognize the talent of salespeople and accounts payable clerks and virtually every other kind of person working in the world of work. This perverse view of talent begins very early in our lives. It begins in elementary school when we give a test to kids and we designate one small group who score high on that test as gifted and talented, which means by definition that every other child is ungifted and untalented. Now, of course, we want to do whatever we can to take care of our kids that are academically proficient. But we have to find a way to do that without signaling to every other child that they were at the end of the line when talent was handed out. Because nothing could be further from the truth. You see, talent isn't a skill, it isn't a competency. Talent is the capacity for excellence, and it is an attribute of our species. Like our opposable thumb, it is a characteristic that defines what it means to be human. All of us have been endowed with the gift of the capacity to excel. The tragedy is that a lot of us don't know what our talent is, and even fewer of us bring it to work with us. So the first step in avoiding career obsolescence is to make sure that you know what your talent is and you can bring it to work with you. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of career books out there that say that the way you do that is to work at your passion. And sadly, that's just not true. I'm passionate about playing tennis, and Roger Federer has absolutely nothing to worry about from me. The key then is not to work at your passion, it is to work at the intersection of your passion and practicality, to work at the intersection of what you love to do and do best. You want to make sure always that you are seeking employment opportunities and working for organizations that will enable you to work at what you love to do and do best. That's how you reimagine yourself as a person of talent. The second step then is to practice career fitness, and in this case, to pump up your career cardiovascular system. Regardless of the years of experience you have, regardless of your seniority, regardless of how many max performance appraisal scores you've received in the past, you want to see yourself always as a student. You are a work in progress. The first is your profession, craft, or trade. You want to make sure that you have state-of-the-art skills and knowledge in your occupation. The second is in your industry, the area where you apply your skills and knowledge on the job. The third is ancillary skills and knowledge. You want to make sure that you know as much about other career fields that work around you, that support you, to which you provide support, so that you can optimize your contribution to them. You also want to make sure that you are always in school on your segment of the economy. What's its status? Where is it going? How do you optimize your performance, whether you work in the private sector, the public sector, or the not-for-profit sector? And finally, you want to make sure that you know as much as you can about what it takes to help your employer to be successful. You want to make sure that you understand what it takes for your employer to optimize its mission performance so that you can optimize your contribution to its success. Now, how do you implement that notion of being a student of all of those areas? Well, the key here is not to wait for your employer or to be employed. It used to be that we would tell people that they were engaged in lifelong learning, but unfortunately, that's been translated to mean episodic learning. We'd take a training program, we'd go to an educational course every couple of years, and that was sufficient to keep us at the state of the art. It no longer is. Lifelong learning has now been replaced by continuous learning. We have to be in school literally all of the time, no matter how senior you are, no matter how many years of experience we have, no matter how well we are performing at the moment. We have to continuously be in school. We don't want to wait for our employer to set up the training for us. We have to take responsibility for it. And if we are unemployed, we want to plug that gap in our resume, that gap in employment, with an experience in education. And then what we want to do is make sure that other people know about our upgraded competency, our upgraded skills and knowledge. So what that means is anytime we have a record of our credentials on the web, we want to keep it up to date. For example, our profile on LinkedIn up to date. Do the same in your profile or resume that's archived in the database in the Career Center operated by your professional or trade association. If you are in transition and you have a resume, in the education section, don't only list the programs and courses that you've completed, list the one that you're taking as well. For example, that might say Introduction to Business Spanish, Bronx Community College, ongoing. That single element will do more to differentiate you in the marketplace and to make you an appealing candidate for employers than virtually anything else on your resume. Why? Because it sends two powerful subliminal signals to employers. First, it tells them that you understand that the key to making a contribution to their success is having state-of-the-art knowledge and state-of-the-art skills. And secondly, it tells them you take personal responsibility for ensuring you have such expertise. Finally, we want to make sure that we are regularly appraising our performance in this regard. Every quarter, what we want to do is make sure that we have something to add to our resume, to our profile. If we don't have something to add, that means we're falling behind. That means that we aren't keeping ourselves at the state of the art. And therefore, we need to re-energize our approach to pumping up our career cardiovascular system. Think of it this way. The best way to make sure that you are not obsolete, that you are moving forward with the speed your career deserves, and that you have the capability to achieve, is to see managing your career as an exercise in riding a bicycle. We all know that you can coast for a short while on a bicycle, but the only way to get from where you are to where you want to be, the only way to make sure that you continue to have the momentum necessary to enjoy that ride, is to keep pedaling. And that's exactly what you have to do with your professional knowledge today. You have to keep working at acquiring skills and knowledge literally all of the time. We've been talking about pumping up your career cardiovascular system because the heart of your career is your professional knowledge and expertise. And to the extent that it's at the state of the art, you can avoid career obsolescence and therefore not only find your dream job, land your dream job, but also hang on to it into the future. Pumping up your career cardiovascular system is just one of the 7 facets in a career fitness system designed to help you increase the strength, the reach, and the endurance of your career. If you'd like to learn more about that program, take a look at my book called The Career Fitness Workbook. It's available on Amazon.com. My name is Peter Weddle. Thanks for attending this mini seminar on avoiding career obsolescence.